All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. Let's talk about the things that hold people back from success. Things that limit all of us, including myself, from being successful at certain things. And I want to talk about this because I've had a few conversations around this lately to people. And the first thing I've noticed is that everyone has a different definition of success. And to some people, success is having lots of money. To some people, it's having lots of children. To some, it's having lots of memories. For some, it's being healthy. For some, it's having lots of friends. So there's different versions of success. And when you are defining your success by someone else's definition, so if you're using someone else's definition to define your own success, then really you're comparing your performance to theirs, which can be very limiting, especially if the person you're comparing it to is at a different level to you, health-wise or financially or whatever it may be. But having your own version of success is crucial to you being able to even know where you're going. The second one is having certain things inside you that you need to work on. Now, usually it's mental, and it could be roadblocks, it could be thoughts, it could be lack of confidence, self-confidence, it could be, in your own decisions, it could be something that you need to work on personally. And we've all heard this so many times, but even people getting into a relationship, sometimes admit that they need to work on things inside themselves first before they can allow someone else into their lives. So it could be something like a relationship, but it could even be business or working on something that's limiting you from taking the jump and making big decisions or trusting in other people. Or sometimes it's learning to let go and allowing and hiring people or relying on your workmates at work to do tasks for you that you probably don't need to be doing. The other one is trying to adhere to what usually is the norm. So, for example, assuming that you have to go to uni to be successful, or assuming that you need to do things in a certain way because that's how everyone else does it. You'll find some of the most successful people in the world got successful because they did things differently. They didn't do things the way everyone else does. And they in a way went against the grain. They went against the normal way of doing things instead of trying to adhere to the norm and the way everyone else does things. So that can also be a big thing. A big one is you're actually putting a lot of your energy into something at the moment which doesn't really fulfill your purpose. And what I mean by that is, let's say someone's purpose is my purpose is to be able to help as many people as I can in the world. That's my thing. That's my personal goal. I do that through this podcast. I do this through my work, of course, and through other parts of my life. But that is my personal purpose. And what I do with work helps fulfill that purpose, because as a financial advisor, of course, my job is to help people. And through this podcast, my aim is to help more people, on a mass scale. But if I was working in a retail store, for example, and there's nothing wrong with working in a retail store. I used to work in a retail store back in uni, and I loved it. But if I work in a retail store, for example, I can only help the people that are there. I can't help other people that I talk to without a podcast. I can't do much. Even as a financial advisor, if I limited myself to only 20 clients or 30 clients, which is what some advisors do, and only help those 30 clients and didn't have a podcast and didn't have staff, I wouldn't be fulfilling that purpose. And I don't feel that would help me reach that level of success that I'm trying to reach, which is to help as many people as I can. Another big one is you're listening to people you shouldn't be listening to. And this could be a friend that's always doubting things or always questioning you and putting you down. It could be following the advice of someone that's in a different position to you. You could be in your 40s following the advice of someone in their 60s, where they worked in a different industry, they are at a different level financially to you, they worked in a different time where maybe there wasn't technology and now there is, and there's AI now and there wasn't back then, and you're following this person's advice. And it could be great advice, but it may not be suitable to you, or it could be bad advice. And that person, as I said, has, they could be very close-minded, and they're shutting down a lot of your ideas. But essentially, listening to the wrong people can really limit your chance of success. And probably the last one that I want to talk about, and this goes back to what I said earlier, but limiting yourself personally because you either lack confidence, or maybe you have a very small comfort zone and you don't like leaving that comfort zone. And there's books you can read, there's people you can talk to, but if you can surround yourself with the right people, if you can talk to the right professionals that can help you work on your mindset, you will find that your chance of success will increase dramatically. Any successful business person, any organization that coaches people into success will always talk about mindset. Sports players will talk about mindset. I did a podcast episode a few years ago with a mindset sports coach. And she is amazing at what she does. And she talks about mindset being one of the most important things for athletes. They could be the most athletic person out there, but if their mindset is not where it needs to be, they are not going to be successful. So I hope this episode helps. As you can probably tell, I think I'm losing my voice. So I thought I'd record this before it's lost. And I hope that you will take something out of it and maybe relate to some of these points that I've mentioned, and hopefully pass it on to someone that needs to listen to this message. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.